money won is twice as sweet as money earned.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Big Easy Bets podcast. I'm your host, Logan. With me in the studio, Nick Von Brick.
Yo.
We've got Bam Barrero in the control booth.
Yo.
This is episode 260. This is going to be our NFC East conference breakdown. We're also going to talk about the White House card that just happened last night. A lot to go over. We're going to do the four teams in the NFC East. Last week we did the NFC West. Now we're doing Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, and Giants. We're going to go through each team by team, brush up on the offseason moves, coaching changes, all the things you need to know, draft picks, whatnot, and then we're going to give you our best futures bet for the upcoming season, what we like the most, where we see the most value. So before we get to that, and then actually shortly after this, we're going to record our For the Money for the U.S. Open at Shinnecock. So if you're looking for that, it's probably one click away. But we're going to talk about everything that we need to get out of the way first, and then we'll get to the golf picks and all of that on the next video. But we went golfing this past weekend, and I don't normally wear glasses, but at least not on the usual podcast, but I am this week because I popped blood vessels in my fucking face and eyes, and half of my eye is completely red. Because Bam had the good idea that we should do a drink for a mulligan challenge. I don't recall if I had a drinking challenge in the equation when I said we should film a golf match. Maybe I did. Do you remember? Because you were the one who said a drink for a mulligan. You remember?
I just threw out the idea because I saw that on another golfer's YouTube video.
Yeah.
And then we just ran with it.
Yeah, terrible idea. I want to just go on record now that I formally, not even kidding, I formally retire from any type of drinking challenge like that for the rest of my life. I'm serious. I'm done. Because we also do a poor job of making sure the video is fucking usable. We filmed a bowling video historically a couple years back. The fucking camera died halfway through, but I already had 4 pitchers of beer. I threw up in a Hooters parking lot that day. I did unspeakable things at a fucking hotel that I had to drunkenly walk. Unspeakable things. Lady just cleaned the toilet. I blew it up. Y'all were in Hooters. Joseph was harassing the waitress. I'm like, I got to take a shit. I went to the hotel. I just walked in, waved to the front desk, blew up the bathroom that just got cleaned, came back, threw up in the Hooters parking lot. It was a nightmare, a train wreck. And then so you fast forward to yesterday. I don't know how many. We were drinking the transfusions, the new transfusion drinks. And I just think back to how fast I drank that first one. And I could throw up just thinking about it. I drank that first one so fast. I slammed it.
It was honestly kind of impressive. My
adrenaline was going. I'm like, we're going to have a good day. I eliminated that drink.
And then, yeah, because I heard you crack it. I looked away for like maybe 3 seconds, and then I turned back around. You had it upside down, squeezed it like you were done.
And then I fucking smashed my drive like 320 down the center of the fairway, too, immediately after. I was like, hey, this is my fucking day. And, it just absolutely went to shit from there. And, I mean, we won't get into all the specifics, but, yeah, Bam had the bright idea on like 16. Oh, before we even got to that, you threw me out of the fucking cart. I didn't even have the heart to tell my wife that happened. I'm just limping around, keeping it to myself. But I didn't even give her a heads up, like, when we were on the way home. She was like, I was not expecting that when you got home. I was like, surprise, I'm fucking dead. So, and then for 48 hours after that, I just laid up in bed and probably fought for my life. So, but yeah, you threw me out of a moving cart.
That not entirely on me.
Do you recall saying, I will steer the cart?
Yeah.
Why did you volunteer to steer the cart?
Because you were not able to.
I don't think that's the case. I think I was still able to steal it.
I'm going to the ball.
I'm not even kidding. I thought
on the fairway.
We should have probably investigated why you did that, because you were like, don't worry, I'll steer the cart. Next thing I know, you go to an area where it slams on the brakes, but you've got the wheels turned, and it throws me out of the fucking cart.
Well, so I get on the fairway, and I'm taking a slight right turn just to go to my ball, And then we're going full speed on the cart. I don't know how fast it's going, but all of a sudden we hit a restricted area on the fairway for some reason, and it just jolts the cart forward, and you just lost all traction.
Did you see me fall?
I didn't see the whole thing happen, but.
Dude, my left hip is fucked up. And, like, I didn't realize it until, like, the next day when I really started thinking. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Because I was falling out, and I tried to put my feet on the ground, and I ended up going backwards, but my left hip hit first. And to be quite honest, it was about as good as it could have went in terms of the quality of the roll. Because I know I did at least one full roll, and that's probably why I started throwing up. Because I remember I was laying flat on my back, and I was like, what the fuck was that? I was like, what just happened?
No, it's crazy how quickly the cart jolted forward, or jolted.
Somebody should have investigated Bam for that. I'm not even kidding. Like, when I really think back on that, because I was not like oh, we're gonna crash if you let me drive the cart. He volunteered on his own. He's like, I'll steer, and then next thing you know, I'm out the cart.
It wasn't intentional.
Yeah,
Those carts were acting funny, though.
yeah, they were.
I'm saying, like, we were on the cart path and it was jolting up on us.
Bro, I don't even know how many. I don't even know that I had that many to drink.
I mean, just mix it with sweating everything out. And
Well, how many do we think, if you had to guess, how many do you think I had?
Probably 12 at least.
Okay. I thought it was less than that. I actually told Bam, and I thought about keeping it close to the vest, that they say there's some type of the water to sodium levels in the high noons. Like, if you drink 12 or more, it can become dangerous. It like plummets your electrolytes, apparently. So I told Bam, like, I brought Pedialyte with me, and I wasn't going to tell Bam in hopes that his electrolytes would plummet in the middle of the match. But I didn't have the heart to do it, so I told him before. I was like, yeah, we can't really drink that many of these. And then I slammed in at least 12, apparently, in your words. But, dude, that hit me so bad. That hit me like a fucking ton of bricks. And I mean, my eye is fucked. My eye is complete. Like, 75% of my fucking eye is blood red.
Do you think you're going to be able to drink transfusions again?
No, and I thought about that. I honestly thought about that quite a few times throughout the last 48 hours, where I'm like, that sucks, because I even said I drank that first one so fast, I didn't even hardly get the taste of it. The only time throughout the day that I tasted transfusion was when I was fucking throwing it up on the side of the road. And that's a disappointment, because that's my favorite drink. I think maybe I can make them at home. I'll just have to fucking put maybe less grape juice or something, and
I could smell them, and it smells just like them.
Yeah. Oh, the throw up, you're saying?
No, when y'all were popping them open, I could smell.
Yeah, no, they're a great drink.
And it smells the way they taste.
Yeah.
Like when you make them at home.
No, they did a great job. Yeah, that was such a dumb fucking idea, though, and I'll never do that again. That was the last 48 hours were, like, seriously tough. Like, I think I put my liver to the test for sure.
Yeah.
I was legitimately struggling.
Yeah, I know when I get sick from something, it sucks because, you can't have it. Like, mentally, you just...
Yeah. No, I was drinking a damn Zevia and just the carbonation. I was like, oh, shit.
It also felt like 100 degrees out there. We're sweating from the get-go.
Yeah.
And you just sweat everything out, and then you, instead of just supplementing it with water, it's just straight,
dude, I was
grape
drinking
juice and everything.
So
it's not a good recipe.
I was drinking them so fast, so that I was like, you got to finish it before you can. And then 8-9 holes in, I'm like, can I just hit this and then drink it later? Like, yeah, that was a terrible idea. I'm not cut out for fucking YouTube golf and drinking challenges like that. I don't care to do it. I'm done. That wasn't fun. That was a fucking expensive ass course to fucking get hammered on 8 holes in and not even be able to swing a damn club anymore. So that's a lesson learned. If y'all decide y'all want to do something in the future, I'll film. I'll go out and film. And what sucks too is I think I was going to play decent golf. I think if like completely sober round, that was going to be a solid round of golf. Like with the par on the first hole, like the irons were in decent shape, and I had figured out the driver from what I was dealing with, hooking it to the left. I was driving the ball fairly well. So yeah, whatever. That sucked. I don't have it in me anymore. I can lay my head on my pillow knowing that when it comes time to go for it, I will go for it. But after I drank that first one that fast, I was like, oh, man. Like, I saw what was going to happen, and it happened exactly as I expected it to. So, but yeah, my fucking eyes, I have like a black eye around my fucking eyelid and shit. I mean, what was your perspective other than literally throwing me out of the cart? Like,
I mean, I don't know. It was just, I don't know. I was playing decent golf, so I didn't like those first like 6 holes. I think I only had like 2, so
yeah,
I couldn't.
Well, I kept trying to peer pressure Bam into drinking more, but I kept telling him too, though. I was like, you don't have to, though. I said, that's part of me. I'm going to try to get you to drink more, but you're within your right to not, just because you're playing good golf. But of course, I'm going to try to. I'm going to call you a pussy.
You did get me on one. You're like, I hit one like little hooky onto the left side of the fairway. You could do better than that. I was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Next one, I hit it in the woods. I was like, oh no. And then we drive up to the ball. I go, I could have played the first one.
Yeah, he had to
save myself 2 drinks.
He had a perfect straight angle to the tee. Like he just had to go. He had to go like an extra club or 2 longer, but he was not in danger at all. Yeah, no. Long story short, that shit sucked. I won't ever do it again. So, I think we can have a competitive round if we just did it sober. You decided to fucking throw in. Oh, we'll fucking drink from a mulligan, and you only had the plan to like, I'll only take 3 mulligans throughout the day, so it's fine for you.
Yeah, but I was also under the impression we were only going to do that on the back 9.
Bam, we didn't talk specifics fucking when you said drink from mulligan. We talked about that way after.
But if we did it on the back 9, that would have made for, like the front 9, we played just straight up, and then the back 9, you add that in, and then that's a lot more manageable than starting off on hole 1.
Yeah, well. Too damn late now. All right, we'll talk about the White House, whatever they're calling it, the White House Freedom 250. We'll call it the White House card. I'll give my opinion on it first, and then we can go around and see what everybody thinks. But when I first, obviously everybody knows the White House card was last night. When I first heard about it, I was kind of like, one, I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought that was kind of far-fetched. And then I was kind of not really on board with it, where I was like, it just feels odd. Like we're having martial arts fights on the White House on the lawn. But you have to tip your cap where the White House card was a complete 10 out of 10. When it comes down to the production, the pageantry, the quality of the fights, 7 fights, not one went to decision. Just everything that happened, the finish of Justin Gaethje, essentially getting the stoppage on Ilia Topuria, making him quit on the stool, the underdog American coming away with the win, getting the belt. I feel like a lot of people were rejoicing whenever the weather was looking like it was going to be a factor, or they were talking about all the bugs maybe being a problem, and a lot of people were rooting for that, and that event had a lot of potential to be a train wreck. You were one lightning strike away in the middle of a fight from the whole thing going off the rails, but it didn't. So as much as people were going to drag it through the mud if it went wrong, you got to give it praise and tip your cap to them when it went absolutely perfect. 10 out of 10. I was just sitting there. I found myself as it progressed. I was like, this fucking rocks. The White House card rocked. And seeing Justin Gaethje looking at the Declaration of Independence in the Oval Office and then walking out to go fight arguably the pound-for-pound number 1 guy in the UFC, it was just such a cool experience. The flyover was fucking badass, and I love when you see Dana White's face. Like, he can't even hold his excitement in. He just starts like outwardly laughing, like everybody at home, like that was fucking sick. And Trump's trying so hard to keep the straight face, and even he like smirks. The Blue Angels fly over while the Zac Brown band is doing the national anthem was sick. The whole thing was awesome. I thought it was a 10 out of 10. if we got to nitpick anything, it's the fact that it was on a Sunday when people got to go to work the next day. We were up till 12:30. You're past midnight on a Sunday to watch the fights, but I stayed up. I fought through it. That would be one thing. Another thing I would nitpick would be Joe Rogan's fucking tie. I don't know what that was. That was crazy. That was a crazy tie, given the circumstances of the whole situation. He looks like he's never worn a tie before in his life. And he looks like his, like, assistant ran out and got him his suit and accidentally got the wrong fucking tie, and he just trusted his assistant and didn't try the suit on. And then, like, day of the fight was like, what the fuck? What is this? It was like, dude, it was like above his belly button.
It's because they tied it bad.
You think? It was a double Windsor.
Yeah, well, sometimes you tie it and you fuck up the length.
Yeah, the other part was like...
It's either... it could be too short or it could be too long, and you got to take it off and retie it again, make an adjustment.
He only had time to tie it once?
I guess. He was like...
Dude,
But yeah, he rarely ever... He doesn't ever wear a tie for the normal UFC events, just a black button-down shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I thought it was sick. I really did. And take politics completely out of it, because to be quite honest with you, I kind of expected them to do like more of a Trump is the fucking best type of thing, which that's a whole nother can of worms that we're not about to go down. But I felt like they didn't really make it about Trump. They did the walkout with him and Dana White, which was kind of sick. It was kind of badass. But after that, they really didn't make it about him. Sure, the fighters ran up to him and whatever. That's to be expected. But they didn't really make it about him at all. It was about the fighters. It was about the UFC, and there was some weird stuff in between with Tyson Fury and whatever the fuck that was. But
yeah, they never came back to that.
He clearly was supposed to announce that he's signing with Dana White and what is it, Zuffa Boxing?
Yeah.
And he didn't say it. That was, I don't know. That was some miscommunication.
Yeah, they didn't walk you out to say, I'll let Dana explain it.
Yeah, you're here to explain it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. That was odd. But yeah, I thought the whole thing was awesome. And I think when it comes to a situation like that, where it's got so much potential volatility, where like so many different things could go wrong. The humidity could cause the mat to be slick and they can't get their footing and it's a disaster. It could fucking rain because the Weather Channel's posting about how it's going to be thunderstorms the entire time and the bugs are going to be terrible. And none of that happened. Didn't rain at all. There was no bugs that you could really see. Everything checked out. So call it lucky, call it whatever you want. But if any of those things would have happened and it would have been a bad event, people would have drug it through the mud. So whenever it does go perfect and the fireworks and the White House in the background and just the whole, like I said, the pageantry of the whole thing was fucking awesome. So I was kind of the opposite, because I do feel like we got to uphold some type of a standard. But they did it perfectly. I thought it was a home run. So if it looked like some Mickey Mouse shit that or just like kind of, it was an undeniably good event that you can't even hate on it. So like I said, I do want there to be some type of standard that we hold as at the White House and things like that. But it was so good that you can't even really critique it. I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I didn't like the lighting in the cage that much. I thought it was a little too bright, but they're outside and shit. I know it's probably a little bit different setup, but I don't know. I'm glad they all got finished, because if not, who knows what time this thing would have ended.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, dude, but that's adds into it too, where like Diego Lopez gets it started off with the bang, but then everybody go down the fucking list. I mean, you could nitpick the O'Malley one, might have been a quick stoppage, but yeah, I thought every single fight was fucking great. The Cyril Gane and Pereira fight, he beat the fuck out of Pereira. Like every fight was exciting, and then there was obviously the main event with Gaethje and Topuria. Dude, there was a point in that like second round where Topuria started opening up on Gaethje, and obviously was hitting with those body shots. But there was a point where Gaethje was in survival mode because he's up against the fence, And when he would start throwing at the same time as Topuria, I was like, holy fuck. Like, I was like, that was like the level of violence. That was like the most I've ever seen in a fight, I think. Like with how much like ferocity they were both throwing with. Dude, Topuria, when he was ripping the body, it was insane.
You should have heard Brosette screaming when he was ripping the body. It was so funny.
That's it?
Yeah.
You gotta give us more. I mean, I can imagine.
you gotta.
He was going, ooh.
Yeah, I was say you gotta give us a touch more than that. Jesus.
What'd y'all think about Hogan's post-fight interview?
I think he is the corniest fucking fighter in the whole company. I think he put on a dominant performance, an undeniably dominant performance. And for that reason, that's going to keep him around. I'm not going to like clutch my pearls because he said Michelle Obama's a man. What bothers me the most when people do stuff like that is you could tell he didn't really like fully say it with his chest. He was like mid-sentence thinking like, should I say this or not? He's like, I got the hesitancy in his voice. And he's like, am I right, America? It's like, buddy, shut the fuck up. Like that was just not really, I didn't think it didn't make sense to me at that point in time. Like you just dominated. You looked fucking fantastic. Granted, Derek Lewis, it's time to go. But it's not like, I just don't get it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's not funny, whatever. But like at that point in time, I felt like the whole thing was going so well. And saying that all it does is give ammunition to the people that want to talk negatively about the event. And it does absolutely nothing for him or the UFC to say that. You know what I mean? I mean, what are y'all's thoughts? Like, I didn't find myself going like, oh my God.
Yeah, no, he's not funny, but
and we could do a whole nother thing on him.
I think that's part of his thing though. Like I don't know if, I'm pretty sure he knows he's not funny because even in the whatever it was after the press conference, but maybe he was like acting like he was doing stand up, but purposely bombing and then being like, oh, well, maybe he said tough crowd, maybe stand up isn't for me or whatever.
But then you saw him on the scale. He threw up on himself, obviously fake, whatever the fuck he put in his mouth. Like what? That's not even for 1 second entertaining or funny or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't like, oh my, like if you want to go actually throw up on yourself. I just did fucking 48 hours ago. That was like applesauce he put in his fucking mouth. But it's like, what are we even doing? What is that? What is the shtick? The WWE shtick, like he's fucking Mankind or something. Like, just put the mask on and call it a day at this point.
Yeah, his whole weekend was just odd to me. Like from the weigh-in, throwing up on himself, and then the press conferences before the fight, like whenever they lined everyone up and sat him down, they were asking other people questions, and he would just hop in and you know, give his weird Incredible Hulk speeches, and you know,
is that what he calls himself?
The Incredible Hulk.
Okay, that's what. So he did like a post-fight press conference where he blamed it on whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah, he's like it's his alter ego or something.
Like, bro, shut the fuck up. That it's not even remotely entertaining though. Like, there's a way you could probably do that where it's funny or edgy or whatever, and he's not able to do it. So, the way he fights will keep him around. But it's like, okay, now you've done enough to like. Now, I would just start fucking insulting people with your regular voice, I guess. Like, I'm just so sick and tired of everybody trying to do some type of variation of a McGregor or try to, like, make their mark on the microphone. No one else can do it like him. Nobody else. Even McGregor and Max Holloway, and I love Max Holloway. Just listening to Max Holloway try to go back and forth, which McGregor seemed like he was fucking, like, coked out. And, like, he wasn't. It's not like he was in rare form on the mic, but just listening to Max Holloway, I'm like, dude, these people try to talk shit, and it just does not work because you compare it to McGregor, who was so good at it. He was so fucking good. Every single time he said anything, it worked, and it was just clearly off the cuff. And the Hokit thing, I thought from top to bottom, outside of his actual performance in the octagon, he made himself look like such a fool. And it's like, with the performance that you had, if you don't say that very last part, he's probably like making his way towards the good grace or like doing what he needs to do to get in position to be a credible like star in the promotion. And there's no way that Dana White they had video of Trump because Hokett gave him some, and he immediately takes it off when he does that. So it's like, you're just not doing anything beneficial for the promotion, or even if you want to say Trump, which I'm not even worried about that, but I don't know. It's not for me. Like, I think you're a low IQ.
Yeah, I think most people don't like it, but
I think you got to be a real low IQ individual to be like, that's
kind of
awesome.
The point of it.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's getting attention either way. Like, we're talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody hates him. Probably 90% of the people wanted to see Derek Lewis win. It's like being loved is just as good. I mean, being hated is just as good as being loved.
Yeah, but you can be hated without, like, yeah, I agree. But I feel like you can be hated in a much better way,
like
too.
His next fight, everybody's going to hope he loses.
No, definitely. But you can get that same thing. Just insult people. Like, the fucking baby spit up on your stomach. Like, I don't know. It's not for me. You like him, Bam?
Not really. I want to see Derek Lewis.
I knew he was going to beat the fuck out of Derek Lewis.
Right after I saw that press conference, I was sitting there watching it, and he was just cutting everybody off, just saying ridiculous stuff. And I was like, all right, this dude's not for me.
I knew he was going to beat the brakes off of Derek Lewis. I mean, I had Hokett in that bet. But yeah, all in all, I thought the entire card was, the whole event, I felt like was a 10 out of 10. Thought it was cool to see. I thought they pulled it off. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. They pulled it off whenever it very easily could have went south. So you got to tip your cap. And Dana White said he's like, this is a fucking pretty much one and done thing. He hates doing the outdoor fights, which I get it. So they pulled it off. That's what it boils down to, you know? All righty, let's get into our breakdown of the NFC East. We just had a couple things to address. All right, let's see. I figure we just go kind of like what we did last time, start with the favorite, go through. Do you want to lead it off? I like the Cowboys.
Okay.
Spoiler. You want to lead it off with the Eagles?
Sure.
Okay. Take it away.
So, Eagles last year, 11-6. They won the division. They were the third seed in the NFC. But unlike the year before that where they won the Super Bowl, the offense really kind of struggled, and this was a team that was carried by an elite defense. So, they have a new offensive coordinator. They fired the old one. They hired Sean Mannion, the quarterback coach for the Green Bay Packers. He's a first-time play caller. They also have a new offensive line coach as well. The other guy, I don't think he was fired. He's just an older guy that retired. The big thing with the Eagles' offense is how do they replace A.J. Brown, even though he didn't get the ball as much as he wanted to. I kind of look at this A.J. Brown departure as maybe beneficial for both sides here because it came to a point where it was kind of becoming toxic to the locker room. Even when the Eagles were winning games and A.J. Brown wasn't getting the ball, he was still complaining. They acquired Tavian Wicks from Green Bay, a decent wide receiver that was just in a room that was a bit overcrowded. Hollywood Brown from Kansas City. Maybe this is a guy that can stretch the field for them. And then they drafted Mekhi Lemon from USC from the first round, and Eli Stowers in the second round to go along with Dallas Goedert. So I look at this Eagles team and the weapons they have as far as receivers concerned, and I don't see a real lack of them there, even though they lost A.J. Brown. The big thing for the Eagles here, it's going to go along with their offensive success, but also the success of Jalen Hurts, is they have to find their identity running the ball again. In 2025, they were the 25th rush offense in terms of yards per rush. In 2024, they were fourth, so they dropped 21 spots in that category. I think looking at the backfield, you got to find a way to get Tank Bigsby involved this year. I know they acquired him kind of early last year, and maybe he had a bit of a hard time getting involved just in terms of pass protection and having to learn a new playbook without a real offseason. But yeah, that's where I think the Eagles' main concern on offense is if they can run the ball well again, then it's going to make life a lot easier for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that was kind of going to be my question was, do you think we get – because when you look at the stats, last year Saquon Barkley still had a solid year, 1,140 yards, 7 touchdowns, but the year before that he went for 2,000 yards. So my question was going to be, do you think we get 2024 Saquon and I don't know that it's so much, obviously, like a drop-off from Saquon. He wasn't going to go for 2,000 yards again. So going for over 1,000 yards for another year is still a solid season. I guess I'm trying to figure out what question I'm asking here. Is, do you see the Eagles being able to get back to successfully running the football, or is it because Jalen Hurts lacked the ability to push the ball down the field that allowed teams to really key in on stopping the run?
Yeah, I guess it's a bit of both. I mean, I had Saquon on my fantasy team, and it was definitely a letdown. I do think, though, that there comes a point where you have to just commit to it.
Yeah.
You have to commit to the run. And if you're successful, then it'll open up the ability to stretch the field with play action and stuff like that. I just thought they never really got it going.
Yeah, I do think I think there is something to be said for Jalen Hurts, though. And I agree, A.J. Brown clearly, even when they were winning, he was throwing temper tantrums and all of that. But if you remember, he was wearing the highlighter-colored cleats because he wasn't getting the ball. He wasn't the only one, though. Devontae Smith put on the highlighter-colored cleats as well. I question if – I mean, you think it's addition by subtraction? Like, who's going to be their bigger-bodied guy? Because Mekhi Lemon's not that. I do think Mekhi Lemon's a good player. I think he'll be a good receiver. I think Dontavian Wicks is solid. So I guess I get it. If you go get a couple different guys that are all really solid players, A.J. Brown at his peak is better. But if you can get the volume, I guess, of guys that want to be there. But really, I do you think that Jalen Hurts is good enough?
I think the question's up in the air because in the Super Bowl the previous year,
against the Chiefs,
the Kansas City Chiefs did an excellent job of containing Saquon Barkley in that game, and it was really Jalen Hurts' play that opened it up on them. And then you're kind of heading into that season expecting big things from Hurts, and then he has the season he had last year. So it's like, I don't know. I think it's possible for him to return to that form with these new weapons. I mean, you look at the offensive coordinator from Green Bay, it's like, Green Bay had a bunch of number twos for the most part at wide receiver, and that's kind of what you see here, even though Devontae Smith's the real deal.
Yeah.
Kai Lemon's a first-round draft pick, but yeah, you look at size, as far as size concerned, that's the biggest thing with Brown being gone, but it's like a lot of times Green Bay didn't have a whole lot of size either on their corpse.
Yeah, if Christian Watson was hurt.
He was hurt for most of the time.
Yeah, but I do think it's like, how many times are you going to jump around from an offensive coordinator? Because you go from Kellen Moore, win the Super Bowl, then you go to Kevin Patullo, have a shit season, now you're going to Sean Mannion. It's like, I guess, I mean, I think Kellen Moore obviously is our head coach of the New Orleans Saints. I think he's the real deal. And clearly he was able to get the most out of Jalen Hurts. But the last season, dude, it's like I can't get it out of my brain. Like, he was missing open receivers, and he was behind A.J. Brown on the slant routes when he was losing his mind and all of that. So I question if Jalen Hurts is capable of getting back to that level, or if Kellen Moore was able to mold the perfect offense around him and utilize Saquon Barkley to the way that he did. Because that was that year he went for 2,000 yards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like everything was still there. It was the same team. I think they had the most expensive roster that following year. So for there to be that big of a fall off when they go to Patullo, I just question, like, and we kind of talked about this where I don't even know. I guess it would be a hot take, but I certainly think that Jalen Hurts could struggle again mightily this year. And then where do you go from there? How many more years do you have? Like, if he has the same season again and it becomes clear, especially in postseason play, that he can't really push the ball down the field with effectiveness to the level that you need to win games in the postseason, how long are they going to stick with him?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know they signed him to a big contract after the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. And yeah, I don't even necessarily know what I'm saying. I'm low on Jalen Hurts, I guess. Long story short. I'm low on Jalen Hurts. I really did not like what we saw last year. I don't disagree with your point that getting a bad egg out of the room and bringing in other guys that are motivated and want to be there. And the defense is going to be good again. So defensively, they did lose Reed Blankenship, their third leading tackler, the safety. He went to the Texans. But they went out and got Jonathan Grenard from the Vikings. And then they also went and got Tariq Woolen, cornerback from the Seahawks, which we talked about the Seahawks in our last week's breakdown. Tariq Woolen is a not that good, but if you remember how bad, I think he's an upgrade from what we saw. What they have, Adoree Jackson last year. They had who's the younger guy that they had? He was the rookie when they won the Super Bowl. Why am I blanking on his name?
Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah, Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo, right?
Yeah.
The secondary, the cornerback position specifically really struggled last year. I think Mitchell was banged up dealing with injuries throughout the season, but the secondary really struggled. So they need to make a change from that aspect. Losing Reed Blankenship doesn't help you, but going and getting Grenard and just another guy to rush off the edge, the defense is going to be damn good. The interior line is obviously spectacular. So I don't fully know what to make of the Eagles, but I know I don't like what I saw from Jalen Hurts, and I don't feel like super confident that, like, okay, because A.J. Brown's out, now he's going to get back to producing. Because he was pushing the ball down the field in the Super Bowl, throwing it over the top to Devontae Smith and all of that, but the accuracy issues were there last year, and I don't know. I'm not a fan. I really, it was a difficult watch. It was a tough watch in the postseason last year. So, do you have any action on him?
No.
Okay. Well, I don't have really anything else to add, so you're good there?
Yep.
Okay. All right, we move to the Dallas Cowboys. Head coach Brian Schottenheimer returns. 2025, it was a 7-9-1 year. But when you look at how bad the defense was, it was a historically bad defense for the first half of the season. And then, so they made some moves. They got rid of Micah Parsons. They brought in, Kenny Clark in the interior. They went and made a move for Quentin from the Jets. Quentin Williams. I'm knocking the rust off still. Bear with me. But then they went, they get? Rashawn Gary in the offseason. So they're doing things that they need to do defensively to try to shore up the defense. Strength of schedule for the Cowboys coming in is 20th. And like I said, that was the story last year. I felt like Dallas had a championship offense, historically bad defense. So the defense was heavily emphasized in the offseason. And quite frankly, I really like the moves that they made. Like I mentioned, Quentin Williams and Kenny Clark after the trade. But then you go out and you get Rashawn Gary, D. Winters, Kobe Durant from the Rams in the secondary, which that secondary of the Rams was not good enough. We talked about that last week. They made moves, but Durant was a solid enough player. He was one of the better ones that they had back there. And then the biggest thing for Dallas is you go out and draft, in my opinion, the best player, all-around player in the draft, in Caleb Downs, a guy that's going to be able to start day one. They also went and got Malachi Lawrence, who I think, and another guy who I think could contribute in terms of rushing the passer, which is Jayshon Barham from Michigan. On top of that, you have the new offensive coordinator and new defensive coordinator and Christian Parker. No more Eberflus. So they completely overhauled the defense. you have to expect improvement from a historically bad defense to start. You expect something more towards the middle of the pack. And if they can get that, then Dallas is going to be a serious contender to win the division, which is what we're going to take them to do. What's the best number you got? You looked today? You have continuity on offense, and then a lot of new solid guys coming in defensively, and paired with what I expect, it kind of falls in line with what I'm saying, where I expect Jalen Hurts to struggle again, or I'm anticipating it. So I think that there could be value on Dallas to win the division. Bam, see if you can find me a best number there.
235 plus 235.
235.
That's what I had. I know.
Caesars is plus 190.
Yeah, 235 is what I had written down. What are your thoughts on Dallas? Do you align? The defense is going to be better. Overshown, they're expecting to have a full, healthy season, hopefully.
Yeah, I think it's realistic to expect them to get into the playoffs this year. I just don't know. The Eagles' defense, to me, like, I don't know if the offense could get worse than it was last year for Philadelphia, and the defense still carried them to 11-6. So, but yeah, there's a lot to like about Dallas.
So the only pushback I would have there is that you had in the division, you had Dallas with a dog shit defense, a hurt Jaden Daniels, and the Giants with Jackson Dart, and then Scatterboo got hurt and all of that. So the division shaped up to be very favorable, where with the improvement that I expect from Dallas, and then you expect Jaden Daniels obviously to be a full go and be healthy, and then same thing with the Giants, a year 2 under Dart, which I'm not high on the Giants, but you know what I mean? I felt like the division was very easy for them.
Yeah. Where was that going? The offense came out graded 10th on Pro Football Focus. It was led by the passing attack with the 2 superstar wide receivers. They did struggle in pass protection. It's not surprising, though, considering how bad their defense was. They were put in obvious passing situations early in the game from getting behind a lot. I think the key here for Dallas is if one of these younger running backs can join the rotation and help Javonte Williams. Can Jaden Blue get involved? Can Phil Maffa get involved?
Dude, I like Abanikanda.
Yeah.
5th on the depth chart, I understand. Probably going to get cut. Israel Abanikanda at Pitt was a stud. He did some impressive stuff at the Jets, but I'm also just a fan, so maybe I'm biased. I think he's a talented player, though. If he was like a long shot to make the roster, I would buy stock on that. But, yeah, no, I think when you look at – you've got all your guys returning on the O-line, so you got continuity there. And then with the weapons, George Pickens showed up, I think, today for mandatory camp. Like, I think they franchise tagged him, so he didn't go to voluntary camp as expected. But he showed up, no issue. CeeDee Lamb, you got Ryan Flournoy, I think, is a solid player. They went and picked up Valdez Scantling. I get it, not saying that's – but if that's your 5th best wide receiver, he can still come in and stretch the field. We saw it when he was in New Orleans. So – they still got Kevontae Turpin. They have a lot of weapons. Javonte Williams kind of sparked his career with the season he had last year, and they signed him to a deal. So yeah, if you do get some type of production out of Jaden Blue, who dealt with injuries all last year and clearly didn't live up to any type of expectations, but Phil Maffa was a solid guy at Clemson. It's like I think there's decent. The offense is not what I'm worried about at all. I think the offense is going to be another top 5 unit. So if you get the improvement out of the defense that I expect, you go and look, I like D. Winters. I think that's a good pickup. But even when you look at the draft, dude, Caleb Williams, I'd be shocked if he's not a fucking damn good player from day one. But like I said, they also took Malachi Lawrence in the 1st round. LT Overton, I think, is a good 4th round pick out of Alabama. And then, like I said, Barham from Michigan, he was number 1 with the Dreads, who would fucking just get after the passer. And I with Overshown being back healthy and They just do. I don't know. I'm pretty high on Dallas. I was kind of high on Dallas last year too, though, for what that's worth. I felt like with them getting Pickens, I think we both agreed on that we thought the offense was going to take a big step forward, and we just didn't expect the defense to be historically bad. So I think the offense is going to be just as good, if not better, than it was last year, and then the defense is going to be just get average, just be an average defense, and I think that they can certainly make the postseason and certainly make a run at the division.
Yeah, the key for Dallas defensively is addressing the issue of rushing the passer again. And how do you become one of the better defense at rushing the passer without Micah Parsons? Well, they went and got Rashawn Gary. They drafted Malachi Lawrence in the first round along with Caleb Downs. So there really isn't, like, when you look at the NFL top to bottom, there isn't a team that's going to be a top-tier pass defense without a good pass rush.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they've made significant improvements there. Like in the middle, they have two studs with Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark. It's going to open it up for their pass rushers to get one-on-ones and be able to help their secondary.
I think Barham can get after the passer too if they put him in that position. So, it boils down to I like the moves that Dallas made. The offense is going to be just as good, if not better. I like a lot of the moves that they made on defense. I said if I'm the Saints, I'm taking Caleb Downs. I'm really high on Caleb Downs. So I think you throw him into that secondary, whether you put him at safety or nickelback. I think he's going to be an immediate contributor that raises the floor of the defense pretty significantly in terms of an individual player basis. So, that's what I'm taking Dallas to win the division plus 235. Now we go to the Commanders. Do you want to take it?
Yeah, sure. They got an overhaul of coordinators. Look, last year the Commanders weren't good. Jaden Daniels got hurt and their season kind of got derailed. So he tried to come back and then got banged up again. And at that point, they decided to sit him for the rest of the season. They finished 5-12 after making the playoffs the year before. So they went out and they fired Cliff Kingsbury. I don't know if that was exactly the right move. I mean, he was calling the plays without the starting quarterback. That the year before had a historic year.
Did they fire him or did he just leave?
They mutually parted ways.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like he was fired.
Yeah.
David Blau. Where'd he coach at?
I know I have it written down somewhere. Bam, you got us there?
Looking.
I hear you clicking. He's stepping in as OC, right?
Yeah. I think the big question is how does the offense look? Blau's going to go to more of a pro-style offense where Kingsbury had things kind of spread out and played to Jaden Daniels' strengths.
He was the assistant quarterbacks coach
for the
Commanders.
Okay, yeah. So I think that's the big question. Also, can Daniels return to the player that he was as a rookie?
That's the biggest question because we talked about that going into last season before he got hurt. Well, I don't remember what week he got hurt, but I think we were in consensus there. It was a while ago, but I know I think it was we, you could correct me if I'm wrong, faded the Commanders in a couple spots there because you felt like teams were going to adjust to what Jaden Daniels was doing well with it. I mean, he was super accurate and it just felt like there was going to be a little bit of regression. And even when he was healthy, I think there was there not?
Yeah, to start, but he got banged up pretty early.
But then they brought him back and then he did the elbow and then they brought him back again, right? Or was the elbow the first injury?
I think the elbow was the first one and they brought him back. It was like the injury looked way worse than it actually was. Then they brought him back and he kind of banged it up again, but nothing significant. But at that point, they were just like, okay.
No. Yeah. Okay, I thought – so, no, he sprained his knee week 2. and then he had a hamstring strain week 7, and then he had a dislocated elbow week 9, which he came back and then re-aggravated in week 14.
Yeah.
Because I thought there was something lower body and it affected his mobility. So when his mobility was affected, that's when I was like, okay, I don't know that what he was able to do with his legs was opening a lot up for him in the passing game. And I mean, dude, he played so well that first season. Obviously, they shocked the Lions, and then they go to the NFC Championship game. But I mean, you had Terry McLaurin dealing with a lot of injuries. You had Deebo Samuel come in and not be anywhere near what Deebo Samuel used to be. I would call that trade a borderline bust. But then even Mariota was getting banged up. It was a skeleton crew at quarterback. So, but the biggest issue was defensively, they were just terrible. They tried to go get Marshawn Lattimore, and he's not what he was. So, among a number of other people. But
and the defense was an issue even when they were in the playoffs. That was the year they traded for Lattimore to try to make a run at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just looking overall as a team, wide receiver.
They made a shitload of moves defensively.
Yeah, they drafted
Sonny Styles, who I think is going to be a stud.
Yeah. They drafted Antonio Williams in the 3rd round to go along with Terry McLaurin and Treylon Burks. I don't know. I'm not super high on this Commanders team. I think maybe a couple years from now after, maybe Sonny Styles becomes a veteran, and I just don't know if this rebuilt defense is going to be good enough to compete here in this division.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't dislike the moves that they made going to get Caleb Von Chase on. He took a lesser deal than what he could have got to go play in Washington, which, I mean, he might need his head checked. But they went and got Tim Settle out of Houston, Oweh from the Chargers, Amik Robertson from Detroit. So it's not going to be for lack of trying if this defense is not improved. So they went out and made multiple moves. You're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 new starters projected out of the 11 on the defensive side of the ball. So, but yeah, I think it's kind of – it's like they had like lightning in a bottle there that first year with Jaden Daniels. And then even when – it's hard to say for sure because the majority of his year he was banged up. But, yeah, when you look at the supporting cast around him, you got Terry McLaurin who dealt with injuries and is only getting older. It's just not really –
And, yeah, Zach Ertz was such a safety blanket for him his rookie year.
Yeah.
Zach Ertz tears the ACL.
Yep. They did go get Okonkwo, who
yeah, I like him.
He showed flashes in Tennessee, I thought. I think he's not a bad get in free agency from the tight end position. But, yeah, I just don't have super high hopes. I feel like it's –
Then, like you said, like – at running back, Krosky Merritt, decent rookie year. Then they go sign Rashad White. They draft Katron Allen. It's like, where's the go-to guy,
Yeah. Yeah, like who's the bell cow?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. Or even who's the big body guy. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have any action on him. I think.
Yeah, I'm going to go Commanders under 7.5 wins. Plus 105.
I like it. Okay, and so that leaves one team left, the New York Giants, who made a number of a few different waves in the offseason, and I'm not even referring to Jackson Dart with going out and announcing Trump and then getting called out by the DN from Penn State. What's his name?
The bust.
You could borderline. It's too early, but give him 2 more years.
Abdul Carter, yeah.
Yeah, Abdul Carter he made a lot of noise for the Giants, and very little of it was on the field. So, falling asleep in meetings was the rumor going around, and all kinds of stuff. But they went out and got John Harbaugh. So, Brian Daboll got fired. The Ravens decided to part ways with John Harbaugh. So, who I felt like I understood why, I guess, in terms of some of the issues that we saw in the postseason from the Ravens. But with that being said, in terms of who the Giants could have gotten, John Harbaugh is a great get for the Giants, in my opinion. But last year they were 4-13. They come into this season with the 17th hardest schedule in terms of strength of schedule. It was a season that started with Russell Wilson and Brian Daboll. They got off to an 0-3 start, and then you saw Dart and Scadaboo come in and kind of spark some life into the team. Scadaboo quickly broke his ankle. Neighbors tore his ACL. Defensively, New York was abysmal against the run, and they were arguably just as bad in the secondary. So fast forward, Dart's the day one starter. It's expected for Neighbors and Scadaboo to be back healthy, but there was video going around of a charity softball game where Malik Neighbors is running to first base, and it just doesn't look good. Obviously,
was that the same softball game that Scadaboo did a backflip?
I don't know. I didn't see that, but I'm sure they probably would prefer him to stop doing that. He's kind of a big fucking dumbass, huh? I see some of his clips of him streaming.
Yeah, he's retarded.
Yeah, like pretty damn dumb.
He didn't. You know, they always do that segment on one of the shows where they show you players and pictures and you got to name them.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he's not the only one because a lot of them don't know anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, he like knew zero players.
Yeah, you just hear him. I'm so tired of hearing motherfuckers address the camera and say, chat, like, and he's doing it a ton. It's like, buddy, you're in your rookie goddamn season. You just broke your fucking leg. Shut up about the chat. Go rehab. If you look at the acquisitions that the Giants made in the offseason, though, in the first round, they took Francis Maui-Goa on the offensive line. I think that's a good pick. And then they took Arvell Reese. Ton of upside with Arvell Reese. So they also went out and got Isaiah Likely from the Ravens, came over with John Harbaugh. They took wide receiver Calvin Austin, cornerback Greg Newsome. They got Tremaine Edmonds, I think, from the Bears at linebacker. So they made some moves, I think, that are quality moves. Obviously, the biggest news in terms of who they lost was Dexter Lawrence on the defensive line. The Bengals went and gave up a first-round pick for him. So I think it's going to be an improved defense because even with Dexter Lawrence, I mean, they couldn't stop the run at all. It was an uncharacteristically bad year in terms of run defense from Dexter Lawrence, but obviously he excels more at rushing the passer from the interior, which is very valuable if you can get pressure in the interior. So, but you still have Brian Burns coming back. You would expect, or at least hope, for Abdul Carter to show that he's worth that first-round pick that they spent on him. But you still have the likes of Paulson Adebo in the secondary. I don't know that going out and getting Greg Newsome is going to make a big change for your secondary. They did draft Colton Hood in the second round out of Tennessee, so he was one of those corners that were he was flirting with a potential first-round grade, and so they tried to address it. But I'm going to be honest, I'm not the biggest Dart believer. I know everybody kind of fell in love with him. He was doing a lot of his production with his legs, and when it came time to throw the football, it wasn't exactly the best. But his supporting cast was not very good. You lost, who'd they lose? Wan'Dale Robinson, which they didn't have much to begin with. But so if Neighbors isn't ready to go, offensively, I mean, Darius Slayton, Calvin Austin, Darnell Mooney, Juju Smith-Schuster, good fucking luck.
Odell Beckham.
That's right. They did go out and get Odell. Good fucking luck. Tyrone Tracy Jr. at running back if Scadaboo's not ready. I don't know how you have super high hopes for the Giants offensively. But I don't hate the moves that they made. Darius Slayton, I think, is also recovering from an injury. I think he had like maybe an abdominal injury, something that he was dealing with. They're 6-1 to win the division. I would lean – I think it's -110 either way, 7.5 wins. I would lean under. I'm not going to take it. I'll just stick with the Cowboys, but that's the way I would lean. Maybe I'm wrong on Dart. And what are your thoughts on him?
I like the Giants. I think they hit the lottery getting Harbaugh.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree with that. I think
if they're not good this year, they're going to be good the following year.
So you believe in Jackson Dart, though?
I think with Harbaugh at coach and just a lot of people didn't believe in Lamar Jackson, and that's a different story whether or not he's capable of winning the big games. But, 2 MVPs?
Yeah. No, Harbaugh deserves a lot of credit for catering, for molding that offense around Lamar Jackson.
The entirety of their team, and it ends up not going the way whoever wanted it to for 1 year, and they fired the guy. So, I don't know.
I thought he mismanaged a lot of the. Whether you want to put it on the offensive coordinator or not, he's the head coach at the end of the day. I felt like the game plan was so not what it called for in back-to-back years. But I felt like it got to a point to where they reached what they were going to be in Baltimore. Like, it got stagnant to where, like, that was as good as it was going to get. So, and I think Lamar Jackson deserves a lot of people aren't going to want to fucking hear that, but I think Lamar Jackson deserves a ton of blame for that, because you open up against the Chiefs in the postseason. Harbaugh didn't make Lamar Jackson try to throw the ball away and not get it all the way out of bounds and throw an interception on, like, the fucking first drive. So, or have Zay Flowers fumble on the goal line. So I get it. But I felt like them going away from Derrick Henry the way that they did and not giving him, like, a single touch in the fourth quarter and all, like, inexcusable things where it's like at some point you got to say, like, go give your fucking guy the ball. I felt like it was just inexcusable performances there down the stretch. So I wasn't, like, blown away when they got rid of him, but I also felt like, yeah, it's a home run for the Giants to go get a guy like that when you see who they've had year after year for the last few rounds of coaches. Who was the guy with the slick back hair? McAdoo. It's like they've had a bunch of bozos. So now you've got a guy who's a proven winner. So, but I can also simultaneously see, like, they needed a fresh face or at least a fresh start in Baltimore. But for what that's worth, I don't think it's going to fucking work, because I think Harbaugh deserves a ton of credit for the way he molded the offense around Lamar. So maybe it's a Lamar problem, but yeah, that's all I really got on the Giants. I don't have any action.
Yeah, I would be willing to take their win total over if I knew that Scottaboo and Neighbors were going to be 100% healthy to start the year, because without them, it's going to be tough, right? You just look at the guys behind them. Behind Scottaboo in particularly, there's like Devin Singletary and Tyrone Tracy. Tyrone Tracy's not even a real running back.
Yeah, you hate Tyrone Tracy.
I don't hate him. I'm just like, if this offense is going to be designed as run first offense.
Yeah.
So if you don't have Scottaboo, who are you running it with?
Yeah. No, I agree, and that's part of why. Yeah, I don't.
And it's like, if Neighbors is healthy, that's going to help Dart so much. But just because Neighbors he's one of the best wide receivers in the league when he's healthy.
I kind of like what they did.
He's way better than I thought he was going to be in the NFL.
No, yeah, he's a stud. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I like Francis Maligo on the offensive line, too, because I think Andrew Thomas is one of the better left tackles in the league. So them going to address the offensive line, I think, was a smart move. But I'm just not – I don't know. I didn't like what I saw from Dart in terms of – and again, it's his rookie season, so maybe a little too critical, but I don't know that Dart
He's got to find a way not to put himself in harm's way.
That too, yeah.
Because he's a bit of an idiot as far as that's concerned.
Yeah. And you love Ole Miss quarterbacks, so you still would give Matt Corral a shot. So are you gonna do anything with him, or are you just gonna stick with what you got?
No, I'm not gonna do anything. But we didn't mention Isaiah Likely, them getting him.
I think I did. Yeah, I did.
Did we?
Yeah.
Patrick Ricard, both 2 Ravens.
No, I didn't do that, but that, yeah, I mean, he's
so if Scottaboo's healthy, dude, they're gonna maul people.
Yeah. No, yeah, I said Likely came over with Harbaugh. But yeah, that's all I really got. We're good?
Yep.
All righty. To recap, I am going to go with the Dallas Cowboys plus 235 to win the division. We hope for a little more of the same, I guess, with Jalen Hurts from what we saw last season. But I think with the moves that the Cowboys made on the defensive side of the football, give me an average defense. That offense is going to be just as good as last year, if not better. So Dallas plus 235 to win the division will be my play for the NFC East.
And I'm going with the Washington Commanders under 7.5 wins plus 105.
There you go. That is our best bets for the NFC East futures bets, and we are going to be back next week with one of the 2 remaining divisions in the NFC.
The NFC North.
Yeah, we'll go with the North. We'll save the South for we'll save our home division for last. But that is episode 260 in the books. Do you have anything to say before we go?
Nope.
All right, y'all have a good one.
The house always wins. Play long enough, you never change the stakes. The house takes you. Unless, when that perfect hand comes along, you bet big, and then you take the house. Been practicing this good. A little bit. Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed.
That was good. I liked it.